where I've been and who I am, all the ways I've grown.
This isn't self-help, it's a full-on rebirth. Welcome to Girl Wake Up, the podcast for women who are done playing small, staying silent, or living by rules they never wrote. I'm Amy Polacko, journalist, divorce and life coach, and freedom warrior, and I'm here to help you take your power back. Because the system isn't going to save us. We need to save ourselves. So grab your coffee, your courage, and maybe a few curse words. It's time to wake up. Welcome to Girl Wake Up, everybody. So many women out there aren't lacking talent or ambition. They're playing small, shrinking to be liked, maybe staying quiet to keep the peace, and second guessing themselves in rooms they belong in. Today's episode is about stopping that. And I am so excited for our guest because when I decided to launch this podcast, I thought, Girl Wake Up has got to have Erin Gallagher. She is the author of Hype Women, founder of the Hype Women movement. She is a mother, a creator, visionary, yogi, and witch. I love that. So this is Girl Wake Up, and it's time to stop playing small. Welcome, Erin.
Thank you, Amy. I'm so excited to be here. Honored. You left out abortion beneficiary, which I want to make sure I mention because it's not political and it's not religious. It's neither of those things. We have to stop viewing abortion as a political or religious decision. It is healthcare for women. And so I put it front and center on everything that I do because I want to normalize it. And I want everyone to recognize that whatever your stance is, regardless of whether or not you believe in a woman's right to choose or you don't, you are an abortion beneficiary because the world runs on women's bodily autonomy being available to them. Okay, so that's Absolutely. Just a quick morning wake up conversation.
I like. Yeah,
there we go.
So tell us how this movement started because I love the story. It's so interesting. You have Jamie Lee Curtis, who wrote the foreword to your book, has been a big hype woman herself. How did it happen for those who don't know?
Yeah, it's one of those situations where it looks like something happened overnight. It looked like it was a post that changed everything. And what tends to not be seen as it is for many people who have been working hard towards something their entire lives is all of the behind the scenes, quiet, building, failing efforts that took place to create an environment that allowed that post that I wrote to then go viral and have the impact that it did to get the attention of Jamie Lee Curtis and to have her say, hey, more than me just reposting this, I'm in. How do you want to work with me to amplify this? So, the work started years before my Hype Women, my unabashed Hype Women post. But it really, I think, what the turning point for me, the inflection point was turning 40. Because when I turned 40, I had this phrase that kept coming to me: I will no longer abandon myself in service to others. And it really just kept showing up in my brain, in my conscious thoughts and my unconscious thoughts until I paid it the respect it was due. It was really this sort of calling from inside of me, you know that we go back to the movie Scream from our younger days, the call's coming from inside the house. It's the call coming from inside of my fucking body was, what are you doing? How much longer are you going to do this? You're 40 years old. You're a mother of two. You're a co-founder and you still don't believe that you are fucking worth it. You're still letting other people tell you what your value is. And you're letting them tell you that your value is less than what it is. And so I just decided to look at the lot of my life and to start asking questions about whether or not it was still working. And so was the company that I co-founded, was it still what I thought it was? Were the people that I co-founded it with people that I wanted to continue to work with? Were the relationships that I had in my family where I really was bringing traditions along with me that I didn't even question whether or not I wanted, were those still working? How about my relationship with my husband in our marriage that had transformed over a decade? And and friendships. And so I started to look around and say, is it still working? And it wasn't in almost every single capacity, some to bigger degrees than others, but so much wasn't working. And so I said to myself, I've got to start making different choices, and I can't do it alone. And so this idea of hype women, of unabashed hype women, of women who actually are there for you, not just when you win, at the end of it, when you have done all of the hard work and you are struggling, but who are actually a part of getting you to that goal. If we did that for each other, instead of tearing each other down, instead of being jealous and then talking shit, what could happen for each of us if we were doing the inner work, but we were also supporting another woman in doing her inner work? That really came out of me when I saw this image of Jamie Lee Curtis celebrating Michelle Yeoh. It was the Golden Globes, and Michelle Yeoh had just been announced as the winner for Best Actress for her lead role in Everything Everywhere All at Once. And the image that I saw was this Jamie, like, arms outstretched, screaming, and then Michelle with her head in her hands. And when you have no context, you think, oh my God, Jamie won something, and maybe Michelle's even upset, right? But what we come to learn is that Michelle was in shock because she had not only never won anything for her more than 40-year storied career as a working actor, she had never been nominated before. And so Jamie was so viscerally elated by this acknowledgement that was overdue and deserved of her friend, that she celebrated Michelle's win as if it were her own. And so that's what I wanted to call out. That's what I wanted to recognize. That's what I wanted women to start to think about and to find inside of themselves, is how do you celebrate another woman's win as if it's your own versus seeing her as seeing her as competition, seeing her as a threat.
I was watching that night and I remember thinking how authentic it was, right? It was not phony. You could just tell it was something you felt gutturally. Like I remember that distinctly. So it's huge. And when you look at what goes on in our society today, I mean, you're dismantling some of that, right? Because we are conditioned in a way to think of other women as competition. Let's talk about that a little bit, because you know the work I do. I've written about the patriarchy. I'm helping women. I've written a book about family court, co-authored one. So tell us how that intersects with this.
Oh, the conditioning is the blueprint. And a lot of us live our entire lives without questioning whether or not it's conditioning or our personality. We grow up and we get to a point and we think, no, this is just what I believe. This is who I am. This is what I care about. And then you when you sit down and you say, but is it? Or is this actually what I want and believe? Or is it just what I've been told my entire life to want and believe? So when I started to do that, I realized that I was doing a lot of shit for external validation and to perform and to be seen as valid and as worthy. And you and I were just talking about this before we started recording.
Right.
I, for probably 5 or 6 years, did a Christmas card every single year. And it was, again, what I thought my personality was. I was a person who did Christmas cards. I loved it. I enjoyed it. And then one day I sat down and I said, hold on. I'm really starting to dread this activity. I'm really starting to feel resentful. And why is that? And I looked at the fact that there is so much unpaid labor that goes into the production of a holiday card that just shows up at someone's house. The hours that go into— I
feel like it's hundreds of hours. I'm seeing
hundreds of hours. It's physical labor, it's emotional labor, right? It's extensive. And when you're doing that on top of 500 other things, it isn't a fun activity anymore. It becomes a job. And so I said to myself, maybe I'm not a person who sends holiday cards. I'm not going to do it this year, and I'm going to see what happens. And holy shit, Amy, did I have more time on my hands? Did I wasn't fucking pissed at my husband that I had found a photographer and made sure everyone had the outfits that worked and scheduled it, and then went through and selected all the photos, and then picked the site that I was going to do it on, and chose the photo and created the message and got the addresses and stuff, right? All that stuff that he isn't even paying attention to. And I'm like getting angrier and angrier with every action. And also feeling like, okay, if I've sent this card out, who's sending cards to me? I mean, that's what it started to do to me. I was like, oh, that motherfucker didn't send us a card, but I know that she sent it to so and so. And I was like, dude, this is really turning into something quite ugly. And so it doesn't work for me anymore. It might work for me again, Amy, but it doesn't right now. That's the other thing that I think is really powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Your choices that change don't have to be forever unless you want them to be. So we get really scared about doing something different because we're like, but that's my identity. And it's like, well, it's not your entire identity. It's a part of who you are. And it might be a part of who you are again, but maybe it's not right now.
Right. I think this whole metamorphosis makes you really value your time, right? Like every hour is worth so much to you and what you want to be pouring it into. And I went through the same thing with holiday cards. That's why I loved your post, because as a single mom, I think I still wanted to be, you know, that person who had a family, even if it was just me and my son, still that Norman Rockwell, well, we're still going to do Christmas cards. It's not going to stop us.
Right.
And then I'm like,
Right.
why am I doing this? This is insane. Right. So,
well, but Amy, you just explained it.
right.
You wanted to prove that you were still okay. I mean, that's
Exactly.
that's what was underneath it. It wasn't, oh, I love creating this card and sending it out. It was, I need them to not see me misstep. I don't want to miss a beat because then they'll say, oh, look, it's all falling apart over at Amy's house.
Right.
She is a single mom and she can't get her act together. So when so many of our actions are based on what we want the world to think of us, those are our ego-driven choices. And some ego-driven choices are necessary, right? It kind of motivates us. But when everything is about protecting the ego, that is, you know, this is what we want the world to know us as. This is what we want the perception to be. It's what we want the experience to be. If it's all based on that and none of it's actually led from like our intuition, we become people that we don't recognize.
Right.
And
right.
that's really dangerous.
We are performing for others. I marked the page in here because you just mentioned it, where you say the only way out is in, right? Because I think when you peel back the layers of the onion of the Christmas card, right? It's like, I have a deeper purpose here. Like those hours could be spent hyping other women up, writing a book, connecting, right? All of these things. Not to say your family's not worth it, but you do other things for your family. You don't need to do that.
Well, and even all of those things that you just said are true. It could also be, okay, what if I take those 25 hours that I would have devoted towards the card and my son and I do something really special?
Right.
And that's a core memory I'm creating for him, not this act that is outside of us and really more about how the world sees us. And here's the other thing, Amy. I am not knocking Christmas cards or holiday cards. I am saying that it doesn't have to work for everyone. So there are people that love this and this is a cathartic exercise for them. It's almost like active meditation. It's the way they connect. Cool. If it works for you, keep doing it. I'm not here to tell you what to do, but what I'm here to do is ask you a question. Is it still working? Because if it's not, we can make different choices.
Right. So when we talk about playing small, Erin, it goes hand in hand with this, right? You write so movingly in your book about, you know, going from passively accepting what you get to actively demanding what you deserve. You know, how would you say women start that shift internally, you know, going deep inside, like we're talking about, and practically?
Yeah. I think that the first exercise you have to do is you have to look at how you are measuring your worth. If you are measuring your worth strictly based on other people's opinions of you, okay, let's start there. Now, who are those people? Is it your mother? Is it your spouse? Is it one of your girlfriends from high school? Is it a, a, a mom at your kid's school? Look at the people that you are putting your time and energy into in order to be validated and decide if they still deserve that
Mm-hmm.
role. Because in many cases, you are showing up for someone or you are performing for someone, and they truly don't deserve to have that power over you anymore. So you have to do a bit of an external audit of who is in my orbit, who has access to me, and who am I giving my power over to? When you do that and you start to see, whoa, there
Mm-hmm.
half of these people don't deserve this,
Mm-hmm.
then you have to take the next step, which is to get your time back, right? It's the thing that you just talked about. Your time is your most precious commodity. It is not transferable and it is not replaceable.
Mm-hmm.
It comes and it goes, and that's it. And so if you think about your time as that precious, as finite, with time comes access, people's access to you, access to your energy, access to your time, access to your support, whatever it looks like. And so it's a first of an audit of who's in your orbit and then who you're giving that time and energy to. And you do have to just start to say it can't continue to go out at the degree that it is.
Mm-hmm.
I need to reclaim some of this. So how am I going to make that shift? So I think it's as simple as starting with your calendar. Look at your
Mm-hmm.
calendar for the next week. What are you dreading that is on that calendar? And it might be something that only happens once a year, but it could be something, honestly, that happens every week. What are you dreading and what's underneath that? It
Mm-hmm.
might be, oh my God, it's my monthly dinner with my high school girlfriends,
Right.
right? Hey, guess what? This used to be something I look forward to, but now I dread it. Why is that? What's underneath that? Well, every time I go, I feel like I'm being judged. I leave feeling drained.
Mm-hmm.
I end up oversharing as a means of connecting. And I talk about stuff that's happening inside of my marriage or my family. And I wish I hadn't, right? So I'm now showing up as someone that I'm not happy with. So what am I going to do? Well, I can do one of two things. I can do one of three things, actually. One is you keep going and you just fucking act like it's not a problem. But by the way, that it will come back to bite you.
Right.
The second is you can have a direct conversation and say, hey, I care about you and I want you to still be in my life, but this isn't working in the way that it's happening. So here's what's going down. This is how it makes me feel. I'd like to see a shift. That's an option. And then the other option is you just start pulling back. It doesn't have to be dramatic. You can say, you know what? I just can't do this every month. So I'm going to need to take a pause and I'll let you know when I can sort of fit it back in. And then when neither one of you works to make it happen, you realize that the friendship is just starting to fall away.
Right,
So,
absolutely. And I have this conversation with divorce coaching clients all the time, right? Because
mm-hmm.
their circle gets smaller, right, Erin?
Mm-hmm.
And, sometimes they're choosing it and sometimes it's people choosing sides in divorce. And I say, you know what? It helps you weed some people out. You become more protective of your circle, the same way women are very protective of their peace after divorce. And a lot of the
Yeah.
women I'm working with obviously are leaving like abusive relationships, but it's the
Mm.
same thing. Who is worthy to be in that circle? I want to read something you said because I thought it just was so perfect. Shift your spend to the hype women who have your back, to the black women who have continued to carry and save our democracy. Thank you for saying that. To the
Mm-hmm.
public and private sector leaders who act with conviction, to the government officials dedicated to serving their constituents and communities, to the family and friends who fuel rather than drain you, right?
Yes.
Love that.
I mean, that was really a look at sort of like every level and layer
Mm-hmm.
of where your energy can go, because while you may not be super politically involved, who you vote for matters. It impacts your life, your community, and how you live and work. And so you do have to start to think about the layers outside of your individual self and where you are investing. And divorce, I think, is a really powerful example of saying, hey, this isn't working anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And we have tried to make adjustments or shift where we could. And there comes a point where there is no resolution that involves the two of us being together. that is a similar parallel experience that you can have in friendships where,
Hmm.
right, you've been together for 20 years, but you've both changed and you're not growing together anymore. And that can be really difficult. And people avoid this breakup with their friends because it's so uncomfortable. But I would argue that it's more uncomfortable to stay a version of yourself that you used to be in order to keep the peace and to like not make other people uncomfortable. I find that when you are growing and evolving and expanding and the people around you are recoiling from it, they want you to stay small. They don't like
Right.
this version of you. And you have to decide, do I like myself more than I care about them liking me?
Right, exactly. I think so many women go through this. And when we talk about playing small, people might think of the workplace or, different scenarios, but it happens in a marriage too, right? Because women can play small and stay relegated to certain duties, or maybe they've given up their career for the kids and then they want to go back, but their partner doesn't want them to, or whatever it is. I think that's huge, right? And what I'm helping women do is kind of like build that muscle, rediscover who they were. I'm recommending your book to everyone, of course.
You're the best, Amy. You're the best. You're the best hype woman.
Thank you. So, I see that all the time. And the best part is when I'm helping them build a business afterwards or like rediscover what they loved. You know what? I did this years ago.
Mm.
And that's who I am because we give up so much for our kids and our
Oof,
families, right?
so
And
much.
don't you think, Erin, we're going through like an awakening in this country? Like there's a divorce moment. There's
Oh,
women
girl.
saying, I just want to be alone. I just wrote an article about that, right? I want to stay single. What do you think?
Oh, there is a massive seismic shift happening. It's why the patriarchy is so terrified. It's
Hmm.
why we are seeing the most like restrictive and misogynist
Hmm.
laws and acts happening right now because they
They're trying
know
to
that women
control us. They're trying to
they know
control
that
us.
that's right. They know that women are remembering. We're
Hmm.
remembering who we are. We're remembering something at almost a cellular level we were born into, that we carried with us. It's generational. We are waking up to this and saying, I'm not going to continue this generational trauma. I'm not going to be a part of it anymore. I'm going to change it for both my kids, but also for myself. I'm fucking done with this. So women are waking up everywhere. It is absolutely happening.
That's why I
And
called this Girl Wake Up. I thought this is the moment we are in, that the systems
yeah,
aren't going to save us. We can't look elsewhere. It's us. We've got to
yeah,
look inside and also support each other.
that's right. Yeah. No, the answers are inside of us. And
Yeah.
that's like it sounds simple and obvious, and it's really not. Because
Mhm.
remember, if you've been taught your whole life to not trust your intuition,
Mhm.
if you've been told every day in big and small ways that what happened to you didn't, that you misunderstood something, um that you were too emotional, too sensitive. We're told all of these things. And when you are told that every day for 20, 30 years, you stop trusting yourself. Because
Absolutely.
because when you say out loud what's happening and people say no, pretty soon you say, "Oh shit, I don't know what's going on. I actually need to ask this person if this was what just happened." So
And
you
that's
start to
gaslighting. That's
it's
gaslighting.
gaslighting.
That's the
It's
definition
gaslighting.
of it. When Ingrid Bergman in the movie, the lights
Yep.
were flickering and her husband wanted her to think she was crazy and he said no they're
Yes.
not, and yes they were. So this happens all the time, right?
All the time. And so when we break free from those systems, that conditioning, the people who are telling us that we're wrong and that what we are experiencing isn't true, we start to remember and we trust ourselves. And when we actually are in touch with our intuition, I mean, we're fucking unstoppable. That women's intuition is the most powerful force on the planet. On the planet. And it's why the patriarchy is so terrified of it, because when we are fully embodied and we recognize that and we don't need anyone else to
Hmm.
tell us who we are and if we're worthy and what we're valued at, then they lose all their power. And that's where we're headed. That's where we're headed.
It's a feeling in the air right now,
Yep.
right? And,
Yep.
and even men are admitting it, right?
Yes. Yes.
They're even admitting it. And I see this in the divorce dynamic all the time, right? Because obviously when someone's gaslighting you and saying you're too sensitive, they want to do what they want to do. They maybe want the marriage to continue because it's working for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I always tell women to trust that gut. If you think your partner's being unfaithful, I'm going with you, girlfriend. We
That's
may
right.
not have the smoking gun video at the
Yeah.
hotel room. We do not need it, right?
That's
And
right.
what I work with women on after divorce is building that muscle. I tell them it's like going to the
Mm.
gym. You've got to build that trusting yourself again
That's
in
right.
a
That's right.
friendship, in a career move, or whatever it is. And I want us to touch on something I loved about your book, which is talking about the mean girls here,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because there are mean girls out there in adulthood, right?
Mm-hmm.
How
Yeah.
does this manifest? What drives them, and how do you deal with them?
Yes. Mean girls are everywhere. It's insidious. It
I've had my
starts,
dealings myself.
oh, I mean, I still do. I
Right.
mean, at 43, I still have mean girls who are in my orbit. They have much less access to me now than they used to. But it starts at a young age. And unfortunately, the reason it starts at a young age is because those girls are watching the way their mothers treat other women. They're
Mm-hmm.
listening to the way their mothers talk about other women.
Mm,
Their mothers are talking shit about other young girls. I see
mm,
this. My kids are 9 and 7. I have two boys, so I am not as much in the thick of what's happening with girls, but I have friends who have girls, and they're like, this is table stakes. It is mean girl moms, and there are little girls in training. So
mm-hmm.
what happens with these mean girls is they don't grow up to hype women, they grow up to hate women. And that confuses people because they think, well, how could a woman hate other women? Oh, there's a lot of misogynist women out there. Most of them are straight, white, cisgendered women. That is what's inside of them. They actually don't believe that women deserve a seat at every single table and that they're capable of doing everything and more. And so the mean girls, they start to show up in your friendship circles. They show up at work. These are the women who are gaslighting you at work. They are not putting you forward for promotions that you deserve and projects that you should be working on. They're telling you this is the real tricky one. These women criticize you all the time under the guise that they're trying to help you become better. And
Mm-hmm.
so you do something, you create something, and they're reviewing it and they're like, this is shit. But don't worry, you're gonna get it. Right. So it's always criticism and negativity first so that you're not good. That's the first thing, right? They want to disarm you and make you feel unstable and unworthy. And then you're like, oh, but they're trying to help me. That's what they said they wanted me. And what it turns out is that it was actually fucking incredible to begin with. And they were so terrified that you would recognize how damn good you are and you would no longer be under their spell and in their
Mm-hmm.
craw. And so they take you down and they tell you they're doing it to help you. So that is a vicious cycle that I was in corporate America. I was deeply inside of it in the first company I co-founded. And then I said to myself, wait a minute, I know what I'm fucking doing. And I'm
Right.
actually good at these things. And I can't believe I let these women tell me I wasn't. And so the mean girl, venomous patterns happen inside of our workplace. They happen inside of our friend groups where you have women who say to you, so and so is talking shit about you. This is what she said. And so
Right.
again,
And they're telling
remember,
you that for a reason. I was going to say, sometimes these women come across as your friend, right? Or they pretend they are your
yeah,
hype woman when
yeah,
behind the scenes they are undermining you, and you find out from someone they said this. You find out they did this. But on the
yeah,
surface they're like, "Oh no, I totally support you and what you're doing."
yeah. I mean, they're pretenders. I sort of
Mhm.
categorize women sort of in these five different groups, um, going from mean girl to hype woman. And the pretenders are the women who tell you that other women are talking shit about you, but never stand up for you when that's happening.
Yep.
And then when those other women are talking shit about you, they agree with them, right? So they are playing two sides, but the confusing part is you're like, oh, but they're telling me, and that's important. That's
Hmm.
helpful. No, it's not. It's not. It's all it's doing is it's allowing them to have their hand in both places and not and not have conviction. And
And I think
so,
they want to destabilize you by telling you those
yeah,
things, have
of
you start to
course.
doubt yourself and say, maybe that
They
is
like the
true.
drama. They like
Right.
the drama, right? Because the drama doesn't exist if they don't continue to perpetuate the shit talking and the lie. It doesn't, it actually just ends, but they like it. They like the drama. They want to see your reaction and then they want to tell the mean girl what your reaction was. It's this whole thing. Um, my favorite phrase to use when someone tells you um, that someone was talking shit about you is, what did you say?
Yeah, right, exactly.
I mean, because
Exactly.
like you want to destabilize them, ask that question because they're going to be like, what? And you're like, yeah, dude, I don't know why you're telling me this when you didn't stand up for me in the moment. Now I'm looking at you. Like I
I
knew
just
that what
taught my 17-year-old son this in a friend situation, so I know exactly what
yeah.
you're talking about. And when we talk about women who are against women, we see this in family court all the time because I have
Mm,
unsuspecting innocent
mm,
women entering this crazy divorce world and they're like, "Well, I found out I have a female judge. That's a good thing, right?" And I
mm,
have to deliver that heartbreaking news that
yeah.
often it's not.
Yeah.
Women are the hardest on other women. Female judges are
Yes.
the hardest on women. I've
Mm,
had several attorneys say that to me recently because
yeah.
these women are kind of like, I worked, I raised my kids. You gave up your career 25 years ago. You should be earning 200, $300,000 right now. Totally unrealistic, right? But it's a
Mm.
woman putting another down, like, gotcha kind of thing.
That's right.
It's
It's
so
like this weird,
heartbreaking.
it's this weird hazing thing of like, if I had to struggle, you should have to struggle.
Yes.
And that is something that it's like that doesn't heal. It doesn't heal the hurt of the originator
Right.
by making someone else suffer. And so that's again, that happens in corporate America all the time where you see these women who are like, well, I came back to work 2 weeks after having a baby, so I don't want to give these motherfuckers 6 months. And you're like, wouldn't you have liked that? Can't we do better? How is keeping these women from getting what they deserve going to help heal what happened to you 20 years ago? That
Right.
wasn't okay, right? I agree with that. That wasn't okay. But we're not going to inflict pain on other people to try to resolve our own unhealed hurt.
Right. I want to move on, Erin, to our segment we do here on Girl Wake Up called Truth or Trap, right? And this is where I share a common societal message we as women hear all the time. And I want you to react to it. You can say whether you think it's truth or trap. Um, Playing small is just a confidence problem. What do you think
Trap.
about that?
That's a trap.
Yes. Right.
Because again, um, it's gaslighting. It's a gaslighting statement where we tell women like, oh, it's just about your confidence. And yet you look at every message they get in society that tells them they're too fat, they're too thin, they're too tall, they're too short, they're too black, they're too white. They're not married early enough. They got married too early. They should have more kids. They shouldn't have any more. I mean, you can't win. You cannot win as
Mhm.
a woman in the universe. And so when we are told that everything that we do, there is a reason it's wrong, don't fucking then tell us that we just need to like have more confidence in ourselves.
Right.
So
It's our
yeah,
fault.
no, it's like it's it's in that statement just ensures that we are fucked from every angle.
Right. I could tell that got your blood boiling.
I'm just like, God damn it! I'm so tired of them telling us what we fucking do wrong.
All right. I want to wrap up by reading a listener letter, right? Who knew we were having you on and wanted to tell us a little bit about her situation. She says, "Dear girl, wake up. I thought I left mean girls behind back in high school, but now I'm dealing with one at work. She undermines me in meetings, makes subtle digs, and somehow always positions herself as nice while I'm left feeling small and second guessing myself. I've tried ignoring it, but it's starting to affect my confidence in my voice. I don't want to stoop to her level, but I also don't want to keep shrinking. How do you handle a mean girl in adult life without losing yourself or your power? What would you say to that, Erin?
Well, this is a specific work question, which I think it's difficult to give a one size fits all
Mm-hmm.
answer to that because I've been inside corporate America. I know it's not so simple as being like, "Hey, I think you fucking suck." Like stop talking shit about me, right? It's especially because I don't know the dynamic of the relationship and whether or not this other person has more power than she does. But here's what I know. We have to believe that the way that we are experiencing something is the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And so documenting what is happening is not only beneficial to rebuilding your intuition and to stabilizing yourself inside of an environment that's telling you that what you're experiencing isn't happening. It also begins to build a case should you need it
Mm-hmm.
um, internally with someone who is undermining you and who is damaging your career progress. So here's what I wish I had done more of. The times that I was undermined by women who I worked for, I would shrink and I would feel small and I would feel stupid and I would feel anxious. And what I wish I had done was put in writing when I had calmed down,
Mm-hmm.
when I was no longer responding emotionally, when I was no longer in fight or flight, put in writing, hey, I just wanted to go back to the conversation we had today. When you said X, this is how it made me feel. Was that your intention?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think when we give people a chance to explain intention versus impact, we get to see what's really happening. And when you put something in writing, they know you're fucking serious.
Yes, yes. Just
Because
the
you can't,
very act of that.
the very
Saying,
act of that is it's putting them on notice that like I am documenting this behavior. And now I'm looking for you to document your behavior right back to me because I'm tracking this shit. Women need to do this with every situation that they have at work that is inappropriate. We do way too much of the ignoring it, talking it out, and it's not documented, and we don't have, and then we honestly start forgetting, and then we think we're losing it. So document that shit and say, hey, this is what just went down. What was your intention? Because if the person responds with, oh, I did want to make you feel like shit, you're like, cool, thank you for putting that in writing, got that. If they are smart enough, they will say, that's not what I meant. Okay, well, how about we do this next time so that it doesn't happen again? Document
right.
this, document it, don't over explain, be super clear, and whatever you write, delete 3/4 of it when you're done.
That's great advice. And so I think it's a great example of taking your power back and not playing small,
That's
right?
right.
You're sticking up for yourself. Thank you so
Yes.
much, Erin, and tell everybody how they can find you and how they can help to build the hype women movement. What can they do?
Amy, you're the best. What you're doing, your transfer of your human, social, financial, and political capital and spiritual capital into me does not go unnoticed.
Aw,
I'm so grateful for it. This is our hype women economy where we are going to continue to feed and fuel one another's
I love that
hopes
term.
and
I love
dreams
that
and
term.
work. It's the way that we're going to really thrive. And so hype.com is where I have everything. It's all the places that you can buy the book. You can buy the book wherever you prefer to purchase your books. It's where I have my community, Hype Women community, where you can become a member and download the app and start building wealth with other women inside of this space that is safe and that is connective and really we can't do any of this alone. We really need each other. And we've been told a lie our whole lives as women that like doing it all and doing it alone is noble and makes you this like badass. No, it doesn't. It makes you really tired
Mhm.
and it makes you really depleted. And then it makes you really sad.
Kind
And
of like
so
Christmas cards.
I'm girl, like we just can't do it anymore. Right. And so like those areas where you are just pushing that time and energy out and you don't feel fueled by it, you got to cut it off. You got to stop the bleeding now and start to either pour that energy back into yourself or into something else that is actually fueling you.
Right. And listen, everybody, it's the beginning of a new year. This is a great time to join this movement, get this book, read it. I'm telling you, you won't be able to sit still. There's an energy on these pages that gets your blood flowing, right? And I think it's just incredible. Thank you for all you're doing for so many, Erin. I mean, we all feel it from you, and you are hyping all of us. So thank you so much for being here. And I can't wait to see what happens with your community this year.
It's coming, girl. Thank you for creating this beautiful space for us to have this conversation and for doing the work that you're doing to help women reclaim their power, their sovereignty. You're doing generational shifting healing work. So know that when it feels hard. Know that when it feels hard. It's a sustainable and powerful job that you do.
Thank you. And on that note, everybody, if you are in an unhealthy relationship, book a free consultation with me. I'm happy to talk to you. My website is freedomwarrior.info. We're all in this together. And I'll end on that. Thank you so much, Erin. Talk to you soon.
Bye, Amy.
Thanks for listening to Girl Wake Up. I'm your host, Amy Polacko. If this episode woke something up in you, don't let it fade. Share it with a friend who needs to hear it, leave a review, and keep this conversation going. Remember, no one's coming to save you, so she did.